Good evening. My name is Nikki Cohen, and I'm a senior at Walnut Hills High School. This laureate started out with only 75 cents in his pocket and determination to succeed. He became one of the most respected and richest men in Cincinnati.
Lerner Blackman Harrison, a quiet man not given to self-promotion, might be chagrined to find himself one of tonight's honorees. Throughout a lifetime of exceptional business success and major philanthropic efforts on behalf of Cincinnati, he was a reserved figure who was reluctant to have his picture taken or charitable contributions acknowledged. Nevertheless, from our vantage point today, we can clearly chart the importance of his life to our community. His philanthropic efforts continue to enrich this city to this day. The eighth of 11 children, L.B. Harrison was born in Cincinnati in 1815 and would live most of his 87 years in the Queen City. Descendants believe he was a great-nephew of Benjamin Harrison, signer of the Declaration of Independence. Yet, L.B.'s family heritage did not include wealth. His family moved to Dayton in 1829, but the teenage Harrison missed Cincinnati and returned by canal boat with 75 cents of his own money and a borrowed $5 in his pocket to make his fortune. Harrison found work in a grocery, running errands for a few pennies a day and sleeping under the counter at night. When his first employer's business failed, he went to work for a second grocer, working his way up to clerk. When that store was sold, Harrison was kept by the new owners and eventually was promoted to junior partner. By 1843, Harrison was restless and left his employer. With $15,000 in cash and two partners, he launched his own store, which expanded rapidly. Sugar, brown sugar, and molasses imported from the South were sold to Cleveland, Toledo, and other cities farther north. This trade would come to an abrupt end with the outbreak of war in 1861, as all commerce with the South ceased. LBH had money to invest and was interested in banking.
I'm proud to represent U.S. Bank this evening in the recognition of L.B. Harrison. L.B. Harrison and a number of his colleagues came together in February of 1863 to form what was then known as the First National Bank of Cincinnati. It was the second largest national bank in existence at the time of its formation. Mr. Harrison worked at the bank for a number of years and ultimately served as president for more than 30 years. Over the years, the bank has grown and prospered, we think in part to the principles and traditions and vision that Mr. Harrison and his colleagues put in place at the time of the founding of the bank. Today, we are the sixth largest bank in the country, and we think that Mr. Harrison would be proud of what his bank has become.
Under his leadership, the bank gained national prestige, particularly during the Panic of 1893, when many banks floundered. Harrison's unrivaled business-as-usual response helped the bank ride out the crisis. His civic leadership would also help the city itself as it struggled through the difficult years following the Civil War.
L.B. Harrison was a remarkable businessman. One article from the Times stated that he has a genius for business affairs. He was involved not only in merchandising but banking. He was director of 2 railroads. He also had a number of community interests. He was a lover of art. He supported the Cincinnati Art Museum, made lots of gifts to that institution. He was also a promoter of the Art Academy. He led a group that saved the Cincinnati Zoo. He believed that true charity was an obligation.
Harrison bought real estate that grew in value with the city he loved. One such purchase, 65 acres in Walnut Hills, was the home he shared with his wife Fanny and 7 children. At Harrison's death, he left a sizable charitable bequest that would ultimately become the L.B. Harrison Club for working single young men.
The L.B. Harrison was a state-of-the-art facility to provide wholesome rooming and living facilities for young men away from their home. One interesting thing about it was the fact that it was financed by the family in terms of the initial building, but after that, it paid for itself.
The hotel would operate for 70 years. It was certainly a fitting memorial to the boy who returned to Cincinnati with 75 cents. and became president of a bank that would continue to grow and become one of the country's strongest financial entities. L.B. Harrison believed that Cincinnati could one day be great and required the cultural institutions he founded or helped to preserve. They continue to do their job, to delight and enlighten many years later. Modest and self-effacing though he was, L.B. Harrison deserves our tribute tonight.
As I was introduced, yes, I am a great-grandson of L.B. Harrison. We call him LBH. And total respect for what the man accomplished when he was here in Cincinnati. We're here today to accept his induction into the Business Hall of Fame. If he were here, he would be 194 years old. Very grateful for the honor you have bestowed on him. On his behalf, I'd like to express additional thanks to Tom Hunnefeld, who you just saw on the screen, an officer of First National Bank, who urged LBH's nomination to the Hall of Fame over many years. To John Weil, president of Junior Achievement, and his staff for keeping the Hall of Fame alive and well. And to Ed Johnson of AVI Digital, who researched, wrote, and produced the video you just saw. Assuming that there are a few Junior Achievement folks here tonight, young folks, I want to say a brief word to them. My great-grandfather came to Cincinnati with $5 and change in his pocket. He started his business career as a grocery clerk. At the end of his life, he owned 42 real estate properties, which were valued in $1,900 at $1.6 million. When you put that in terms of $2009, it's $40 million. That's the kind of achievement that's still possible today in these United States. Thank you.